The Fast Pound, Slow Pound podcast is where we speak to successful business owners and entrepreneurs about their challenges, their journey, and how they've got to where they are today. And with that said, let's get into the podcast. Hayley, thanks so much for coming on. You're currently doing £10,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue. Just over. And that's been achieved in less than 12 months?
So October, we started selling last year, in all-in-one app. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, take me back to who Hayley was when she was younger.
A nightmare. I grew up in Newmask, in Redcar area, in a village. I was always a bit different, I suppose. Always the kid who asked why. Always the kid who got sent out of lessons for being a bit of a clown. And just didn't really think like other people, to be fair. So when I was younger, I was living in Newmask. My dad is a steel worker. My mum is an alcoholic. So not really much role models to look at. But as I grew up, I sort of looked at other people for entrepreneur skills and the way other people think, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and all that sort of stuff. And then for me, it was just a case of, right, let's try a lot of different things out. So I didn't really like school. It wasn't for me, ever. I went to college, then ended up dropping out. I did an apprenticeship, funnily enough, with CPI, who's a building over the road. Did an admin apprenticeship. It was super boring. And then I got into sales. So I sort of quickly was good at sales because I'm, a bit of a chatterbox. And then I developed a team, grew that to a large size, and then I decided to go into digital marketing. So I've been doing that for about 12 years across different industries, some really interesting industries, actually. So I've done anything from HelloFresh food boxes to private jet sales. So very, very high range of things. And then last year, I was employed after I had my baby, because you're kind of just trying to find your feet again, aren't you? After you have the baby and sort of split your time and your calendar's all over. And I was working for somebody else at the time. Then this AI boom came around and I was like, right, well, I've got to drop everything and I have to be fully invested in that, and quickly became really obsessed with it. And the reason why, I think, because the seed was already planted in my head, like I knew it was coming. And when 10 years ago, me and my dad were at Wetherby Racecourse in the car park talking about AI revolution. And so I was like, it's here. It's actually here. I'm going to have to build a business around it. So that's exactly what I've done. And it's going really well.
Yeah, brilliant. But why entrepreneurship? Because if you didn't have anyone immediately to look up to in your family, what made you think that you could do it? So
from the age of 5 years old, I was kind of knocking on doors and washing people's cars. And my granddad had a big, massive vegetable garden as well, like a huge allotment. So we used to pick veg out of there, put it on a wallpaper table outside the house, and then sell it on the street. So I've been like that from a very young age. And like my parents would look at me and think she's weird because none of our other kids are like this. So I've always been like a bit of a hustler, if you like. But then you start reading books and Napoleon Hill, Robert Kiyosaki.
What age is this now? Like what?
Oh, I'm like 15 by this age. I'm getting involved in.
To be getting involved in.
Yeah.
I started about 18, 19, so you're a few years on me there.
Well, my dad, at one point, I was coming home from school, and if I was naughty, my dad would give me no money, and that was my punishment. That was like the discipline. And it was very good until I was like, right, well, I'll just sell my own things on the school field. So I would sell rollies. I would sell rollies on the field, 3 for £1.
Yeah.
I would go to the shop and buy a 6-pack can of Cokes, put it in my backpack, sell them for £2 each, making huge margins, obviously, as a 15-year-old. And discs as well. So I don't know if we're allowed to say this on YouTube or whatever, but when we used to have the CD discs, I would rip movies on them and then sell them for like £5 each on the field as well, because you'd buy like 10 for £1 from Tesco, and I'd be making 50 quid on there. So I'm like this at the weekend, balling. But yeah, I was into all sorts, like when I was younger, drinking, boys, drugs, the lot. and I could have very easily went down the wrong path, but because I left home so early, I think I was kind of over it all, and then I was just like, right, I need to hustle and I need to find ways to make money. And that's just what I did. I've done loads of different things in my life, but I've always been quite good with marketing, lead generation, that sort of thing. So, like I say, when you inject AI into that, it's like scalability is like maximum then, isn't it? So
it's exciting, isn't it?
It is really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm still excited about it now.
I can see how excited you are about it. We will get into all that. So you said you sort of looked up to entrepreneurs like back in the day. Do you know who they were?
Yeah, so I've always been a fan of, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, I can't even say his name still. And, there's quite a few I can name. Robert Kiyosaki is probably the main one for me as well. And Elon Musk, all these people who you see, they're just way more motivated and they have a bigger range of resilience, I would say. So I was at an event this weekend just gone, and that word kept popping up throughout.
Which event?
Property Educators Summit.
Whereabouts?
So that was in London, Mayfair.
Oh, nice one.
Because I'm getting posh now.
Yeah.
I'm going back to the posh life. So I was there because a lot of my clients are in the property space, so I wanted to make sure I had the knowledge, and if they didn't, I could just feed it back to them, and which is what I've done. And when I was there, they actually got me up on stage for the first time ever. So that was awful.
I mean, sounds like the worst nightmare.
It was absolute worst nightmare in front of like a load of really, wealthy people, and I'm just talking about automation and lead generation. But after I did it, I was really nervous, and then afterwards they all started coming over to me rather than me having to network and approach them. So I've kind of got that now, but most of the time I generate leads through social media. That's the best way to do it, really. But I love these events now. I'm getting to more of them. And my business partner's retired, so I'm having to go to more of them as well. So I'm just like, you will enjoy it and you will like it. So I'm just going.
It's a massive advantage if you can speak at them, though.
Yeah,
I mean, the trust and the authority that builds up with the audience or.
I suppose.
Clients.
I mean, getting in touch with the hosts and getting on with the hosts and just offering them some advice and help, and it can get you in some really good doors.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've been doing. Recruitment as well. Trying to be entrepreneurial around recruitment and trying to understand that not everybody's like me. Not everybody's brain goes 100 miles an hour like mine. And I just kind of need to segment my brain off and chunk it down, compartmentalise and give those roles to other people. And I've been quite successful at that this year. Mm-hmm. So we've got 9 members of staff now, which is good, but I want more. Mm-hmm. I want more skill sets. I want to upskill the existing team. But the trouble I'm having at the moment with recruitment is in the Northeast, I find it the most. I've done recruitment for a while as well, like over different companies, and it's one of the most difficult places to recruit. You might get 12 interviews and 1 or 2 of them show up because they're on benefits, and maybe the benefits just cover their lifestyle. I don't know what that is, but there's a lot of excuses I hear from people as well, like, oh, I've got this wrong with me, or I've got that wrong with me, and it stops them from doing anything special or extraordinary. So 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with autism and ADHD.
Only 5 years, like not, but like that's when you found out. You didn't know you were like.
I had an inkling that there was something amiss. Maybe it's like maybe his ADHD was at the top of the thing. But when they said autism, I was like, because I'm quite particular as well. They put me through years of testing on it. And then they just came out with this certificate and said, well done, you're autistic. Yeah. I was like, okay. But instead of thinking, right, that's a reason to be held back, and, I could easily say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that because I'm autistic. It's not, it's flipped on its head, and I've gone, right, well, actually, I can learn faster than most people. I can hyper-focus like no one else can. And so those are my strengths, so I'm going to play on them rather than, oh, I'm autistic, so I can't do this. So I'm hoping...
A superpower.
A superpower, yeah. So I'm hoping that if anyone's listening and they have a similar diagnosis or whatever it is to hone in on the key strengths out of that label, because it doesn't mean that you're worth less than you are. And I went through a really hard time with postnatal depression and things like that, and because I didn't really understand myself and the way that I thought, and that diagnosis kind of just gave me a little bit of a catalyst to go, right, okay, well, even though you are that, but that's a reasoning for this, that and the other. And I told my family, and none of them batted an eyelid. Like, none of them said, oh, no, you're not. Like, they were, oh yeah, that makes sense now. So I was like, so it's if you all knew and no one told me.
Are you glad you were labelled then? Did it provide a bit of closure or a bit of,
a bit of closure, because like I say, I was one of those kids in school where I could not sit still, couldn't concentrate, and if I wasn't interested, I was getting sent out because I was just making jokes or whatever. But my brain just couldn't process what I'm not interested in. So I'm obsessed with AI and I'm obsessed with marketing, lead generation. So that makes me really good at it. But if you went to ask me to do my own accounts, I can't do it because I'm not interested. So I'll pay somebody else to do it.
You get shouted at that in school, wouldn't you? Like
all the time.
You can't just buy someone else's experience in at school, which is why just the concept's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you go into the real world in business, if you lack skills, you buy that in.
Exactly.
If you do shit on a test, you fucking get thrown in detention or given lines or whatever. I
lived in it was called Coast in our school. They called it was isolation basically, and they'd give you a colouring book and you'd just sit and colour in.
I was talking about this to my mate the other day. We used to get told to stare at a wall.
Did you?
That was our inclusion.
Are you going to call your school out right now?
Yeah, I can arrange. So we just used to have to stare at a wall all day. That's mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah. What sort of good is that doing to a human being?
Yeah.
It's like, it's like a mental institute a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was looking back.
No, so it is crazy, like these labels that they put on people, but it's just that your brain's wired differently, whatever you want to call it. It could be ADHD, autism, whatever it is. It's your brain is just wired different.
Do you think it's dangerous to label kids too early, though?
100%. Like, they should be learning, and people should be more accepting of different behavioural patterns. So if they do see a kid that's more inquisitive and they're more why, and, or they're not interested, then it's up to that teacher to adapt their learning style. Like, everyone in my team, none of them are the same, but I have to adapt the way I speak to them and the way that they can understand, and make sure it makes sense to them rather than disregarding them and hiring someone new. If they have a willingness to learn and a willingness, everybody needs to get paid, then I'm willing to spend the time with that person. But as a teacher in a school, you are paid by the taxpayer as an obligation to do that. So if you're not doing it, why are you doing that job? So I think, the way people look at it needs to change, I think, all across the board.
Yeah, very interesting. So what is AI?
AI is everything. So I ask two questions. Do I want to do this? And can I do this? And they both have to be yes. And if they're both a yes, is AI able to do these things for me? And if that's a yes, it is. It literally is. Like the way ChatGPT is advanced now, you could have multiple skill sets in different GPTs, and then you can use them like build your own team and use one chat and plug the whole team in to get that one project done. So it's literally, it's everything right now. And I think if you're not using it, it's not going to take over, but whoever is using it is going to bypass you way quicker than you can imagine if you are not adopting it now.
Do you think every business owner needs it?
100%, yeah. Unless you're like collecting eggs out of a chicken coop, then even probably you could get a robot to do that for you at this rate. There is some things that I believe that AI can't do right now, and that's sales. Like, it can do certain sales, and there is things out there that will call people and they can press a button and get a sale like that. But it'd have to be like a really impulsive offer. But most of the time, like with what me and you do, it's about building relationships and getting to know them. And AI can do it to a certain level, but it doesn't have that human flair on it. So it can't do that. But up until that point, it can pretty much automate the full entire lead generation, all the admin. You can reduce any business down to a PA and a piece of software nowadays, which is quite scary for the employment landscape. But then if you can't get the AI to think in a different way because you can only think in one way, you still need to hire people who can think differently in order for you to grow. Like, you will never grow without a different level of thinking. But AI is fantastic and all that, and we use it every day. But they've just actually, I'm saying this now, but they've just launched a newer model, which has got the GPT-1o. Have you seen it?
No.
It's insane. Like, it can answer thoughtful questions, like human questions. I'll send you a video on it. It is insane. But there's certain questions that you'd ask it and it can't humanly answer. But this new version, they've done something to it and it looks pretty scary, to be honest.
Is that ChatGPT then, or is it something else?
That's ChatGPT, or one version. They've just released it, so give it a check out.
Yeah. Do you think AI is going to take over the world?
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt. Like, have you seen Prometheus and Alien Covenant?
I try not to look too much into it because it's scary, isn't it?
It is scary.
What does this actually mean for us?
Well, in Prometheus, there's like, the Alien movies are fantastic. Ridley Scott's from around Teesside as well. They came up with this concept that it wasn't the aliens that was going to kill the human race. It was the AI that the humans made, and then the AI went and created the aliens. So something along them lines, like, might happen. Like, if it has the ability to create life, and somewhere in a warehouse and something like off Avengers in robot arms, just dealing with stuff, and none of us know about it, then yeah, it can get really scary when you start thinking like that, like Terminator. But yeah, I think. In terms of employment landscape's an often used word from ChatGPT as well. It's one of those where people's jobs are not there anymore, and unless they can learn how to use the AI, they are going to be out of a job, and it's already happening.
I mean, the last couple. So the last couple of times I've been in the supermarket, there's been no one on the tills. Like, that's just one example of like the employment landscape of how it's like rapidly changing, isn't it? Like,
yeah, no one hoovers their own floor anymore because you've got like these AI hoovers that just go around the house all day mopping the floors.
Yeah.
Have you got one?
No, I haven't. I've seen them though in hotels and stuff.
You're going to get one, aren't you?
So, but the business owners that you say you mainly work in the property space, or is it different industries like
properties, property coaching, consultancy. So working with like other consultants in their niche, property wholesalers, estate agents.
Wholesalers, that's such an American word.
I know, but that's what they do.
Pick you up on that.
What do we call them over here?
Property sources, wouldn't it?
Sources, wholesalers. I don't know, I kind of look at wholesalers, when they've got rooms of people on the phone, like ringing all the leads. Those are the types of companies that I work with, whereas individual deal sources, not so much.
So you work at like their UK companies, are the wholesalers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I've gone international now. So we've got Brussels and Ireland, got clients over there.
That's quality.
Yeah. I do have some free holidays. I do have some random like referrals that come in, and they're not in my niche at all, but I'll kind of look at it and think, it's easy enough to do a few tests on it. If it works, and we'll just run with it. So yeah, I'm open to working with anyone really, but there is certain things, if I look at it and I think I haven't got the right experience or I don't know enough about this space, I'll just say I'm not the right person for you.
I guess because it's constantly growing and adapting and stuff, you need to like be constantly on the ball, learning.
Yeah, it's easier to sort of niche down within a certain industry, but there are other industries where you can sort of transfer the skills, or if I have an actual interest myself, or one of the team goes, yep, I've done this before, I can do it again. I'm like, are you sure? And then if they are, we'll do it. But if not, I don't really want to work with them, and I don't want to waste my time or theirs, take the money and then not be able to deliver. So I'll rather say go somewhere else.
Yeah, fair enough. So what's the ideal client for you in terms of, a business owner picks up the phone and they says, I've got these problems, and you're like, yes, I know I can solve them, or...
So if they've got like loads of admin, PA sort of stuff that they're paying, if they're paying $2,000 a year for a PA, $2,000 a year, $2,000 a month for a PA, they might be paying $3,000 a month for a marketing manager, an admin office assistant. All these things, I kind of wrap all of that up, map out I use Miro a
like
lot.
workflows and stuff.
Yeah. I'll like visually map out their business and see what everybody's doing, and then just identify the gaps in there. And then once I've found the gap, it's like, right, there's the solution, and that's going to flow nicely if we do that. An ideal client would be turning over $1 million a year, and they would have at least 4 people in their sales team. So they've already got an offer that's proven, but they're just not systemised at all. And a lot of businesses will get to the 3 year and then they'll hit a wall, and then they're like, I'm not moving anywhere and I'm just staying at this same level because they haven't systemised the business. And I know that because I've run 5 businesses and 4 of them have failed. So the reason why that happened is because I didn't systemise anything, didn't automate anything, just winging it. Hoping for the best, just having a good time, really. Just like waiting for the weekend to go out, and then the rules come in. You haven't got the standard operating procedures in place. You haven't got the training sessions planned out, all these different things that make your business scale. If you're not doing them, then you are just going to stay in the same place. So quite often, with all my clients, I'll have a half an hour call every week with them.
I was going to say, it's like education, isn't it? You're educating the business owner, I guess.
Yeah, like sometimes they have like the thoughts are limiting, so they think a certain way. So I'll have to say, well, have you thought about it this way and that way? Because if you get out of that way of thinking, and we try this out, then we're probably going to see an increase in the turnover. And then we just see that on the stats on the board. And that's what we do, and that's what we're good at.
So are you taking retainers from them? Because it doesn't sound like it would be like a one and done thing. As their business grows, there's going to be more systems that need improving and automating and everything like that.
So in the beginning, as a sort of AI marketing agency, we called it automated social media agency. We were selling different things. So we'd have like a package, base package for software, and then we'd say, right, it's 150 for that, 500 for this, and then it got to the point where my QuickBooks was a mess. And I was like, when you procrastinate and you're like, I don't really want to do it. So that's with somebody else now, but I've changed it so that their job's easier as well. So now we have tiers on packages. So it's like an all-inclusive access to the agency. So you would pay the same as what you would pay for an in-house member of staff, but you get access to the whole team. So if they need landing pages, funnels, text, emails, the whole shebang, and we run up to 3 campaigns a month under one budget. That budget is really dependent on their ad spend. So let's say, and I give 2 options. So if they spend less than £10,000 a month on ads, whether it be Google, LinkedIn or Facebook, then we will manage the whole of their marketing for $2,000 a month. If they want to do an incentive with us, we've got another set of terms where they just pay $1,000 and then 15% of their profit on every lead that we acquire for them that they sell. And I've only really just started changing people over to that.
Is that better for you?
It's better for them and us, because then it's not invoices left, right and centre, and it's not, can I have this, can I have that, or them thinking, am I asking too much? It just encompasses a whole, here's your team, we're an extension of your business, and if you need us, WhatsApp us, or put a ticket in if it's like a bigger job, and we need to segment out the tasks, then we can't just do that over WhatsApp. Like, can we have a social media post? Yeah, that'll be done in an hour. That's how we're working it. And we're using ClickUp as well, Kanban boards.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've not actually used it. I've heard of it. Is it good? It's good for automations and integrations and stuff.
Very overwhelming for someone who's not done project management or marketing projects before, but it's easy to pick up if you're all right with software. So every client gets a space in there, and then on the Kanban board it goes from right to left, so from the start all the way to completed, and then I just check that a couple of times a day and make sure things are moving along the conveyor belt as they've requested. And do you know what? The only thing is I wish I'd done it earlier, because not a single client has batted an eyelid over it. They're like, oh yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I'm like, so I've just 3x my income like overnight by one email. And
because they're paying for it as well, or what do
so
you mean?
some of them were just paying like bits here, there and everywhere. And on my stats and on my QuickBooks, it was just a mess. So by doing those 2 packages, it's very clear now what they get and for what price.
Yeah. So you're basically paid on performance then, aren't you?
Yeah. So 15% of their profit. So if they've got it, there's going to be costs there, costs of expenses to take off, then whatever's left, we get the 15% out of that. And it works well for them and us.
That's what I'm saying, it's pay per performance, isn't it? Which is quite attractive to obviously someone who's spending the money, because they know that you're going to be delivering. So it's like their win and you win as well. And
it's a double clause, so it's that or that. Which one do you want?
Yeah. From a sales point of view.
Yeah. So it's easy to train the salespeople off the back of that, rather than telling, because the salespeople are the hardest for me to train. Because of the way salespeople are, and
So we're talking about your team now.
Yeah. But then retraining them on these packages, they were all like weights lifted off the shoulder. Oh my gosh! So I can just go, you're going to get everything for either this or this. You pick, and rather than you need A, B, C, and D. And every client needs different things under the roof of the digital marketing company. But if they need different things, but we offer all the services, why not just give everybody all the services for one set fee? And then it makes sense to sales, makes sense to project team management, and it makes sense to the client as well.
So you training the sales staff up, because obviously your role is then, you're basically a business owner now, aren't you, rather than a...
Yeah, I'm trying to work on the business rather than in it, but I still do the consultant calls and the accountability calls with the clients, because I need to know, is this working for you?
Yeah.
And if it's not, let's rein it in and let's do a different strategy, but we need to give it time and all the rest of it, because I'm kind of the middle go-between by doing that. But obviously in that consultancy call, if there's any issues, it's only a week that they have to wait to air any issues, or I need to air any issues with them. Like, there's always problems. There's always software that gets updated. There's always card information that needs updating. There's always something. So I think them calls are really important.
What were the businesses that you failed with, and what were your biggest learns from those?
So the first one, I was just doing like freelance digital marketing back when, Google Voice was getting big, doing a bit of SEO, bit of ads, and then what did I do after that? Was
that your first business?
That was my first one, yeah.
Why did you choose marketing? What was it about marketing that you thought?
It's just everything's kind of marketing, isn't it? It's interesting from a psychological point of view, what makes people tick.
Yeah.
And then after that, we opened with my ex, we opened a gambling business.
Yeah.
So we were going to put machines into pubs and pizza shops and stuff like that. We split up. He still has that business, makes 60 grand a year still now. So he's doing all right with that.
Yeah.
But we split up. I split from that. And then the next one after that, I had an insurance company. So I built a team of door knockers. We used to go around and find out, the government had put loads of cavity wall insulation in people's houses.
I remember you telling me about this one, yeah.
Yeah. And they'd basically made loads of people's houses damp, so we would go and knock on the door and say, have you got a Sega guarantee? And if they had it, they're in for some money to get the house fixed. So I had a panel of 3 solicitors at the time, and we would package the claim up, get a chartered surveyor to come sign it off, and I partnered up with him as well. That was my 4th business. And so I had that one running alongside, because one was like lead generation and one was like proper building surveying. Then we found, so this was a real grey area. So, when you used to get loads of PPI calls and all trying to sell you all this insurance on the phone, they're not allowed to do that anymore. But nothing was said that we couldn't go knock on doors about cavity wall insulation. So it was a real grey area. And then all of a sudden we got wind of this court case. And basically, someone had got sued for doing what we were doing. So we had to shut the companies down immediately.
Yeah.
So that was that. We made a massive profit in the first year, which is like unusual for any business, really, isn't it? Because in the first year, you're making a loss most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're still sort of figuring out your offer and your package and stuff like that, aren't you? Because like, you know, you can help a client, but you need to make it work for your business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on the insurance side.
Yeah. But, well, just with any business, like, you know, sometimes you're still figuring out what your offer is
Well,
to make it profitable on the business side of things.
It was profitable because we were just suing every cavity wall company, basically, because they shouldn't have done cowboy jobs. And that's what happens is you get your money back, don't you? And it was pushed by the government and like, oh, you'll save money on your bills, but in the next 2 years you're going to have asthma or COPD, so it was well worth us. Like, it was a feel-good job as well, you know, like when you actually seen the state of someone's house and what had happened to it after that had happened, and you were able to be in a position to help them. It was a nice feeling, but not to get sued, so we had to just shut the thing down.
Was that nationwide, or was that like Teesside, Redcar area?
Nationwide, that. Yeah, there'd be loads of damp houses still now on
no
that. No
one's doing that anymore. Like trying
as a company, like an insurance company, you can't do it like that, but you could probably ask them if they've got a C guarantee and go to a solicitor, but make them do it themselves. So, you know, there is money still there, but you're not really supposed to tell people about it. Where does Hayley Brown live? I'll have the police at the door.
Yeah. So what made it click with what you're doing now, like the AI consultancy?
Well, everything I do is for my daughter, Imogen. So I was obsessed with AI, and like, so if it's took me 3 hours to compile a report using different pieces of software on a weekly basis, if I can get those 3 hours back every week using AI, I can spend that time with my daughter. So I might only work about 12 hours a week now, but if you times that by 3, because AI can give you that power, you can duplicate yourself, and it can be doing loads of things in the background while you're, you know, at the park with your kid. Mm. So are you using enough AI, mate?
That's just what I'm thinking. And it's taking over in my head now. I'm literally just thinking, like, what can we get done here? Tell you what's been a bit of a problem. Not a problem, but just something like, is posting the short form clips of this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure AI could do something for me there.
I'll give you a few tools. Not on here, though.
Yeah, secret.
In secret, yeah.
Yeah.
Give you a secret tools for having me on. Thanks for having me on, by the way.
How old's your daughter?
4. She's going to be 5 next month, and we're going to go to Egypt. Not next month, November, so we're going to go to Egypt for her birthday.
Nice.
So she gets holidays for her birthday now. She's been on, this will be her 7th holiday this year.
Yeah. Can you see yourself in her with the way she's inquisitive and asking?
100%. Like, I've made a mini me. She is me, but she just looks like a dad, but she absolutely is me.
Yeah.
Like, one of the teachers pulled me up before and said, and I had to pull a teacher up about it as well, but they said, Imogen's not very much a follower, she's very much a leader, but it was the tone that they said it in, and it got my back up. I was like, but if she was a boy, you would say, he's got really good leadership skills, and you know, he's really confident, but because she's a girl, you haven't said it like that.
Yeah.
And the woman, the teacher, she was like ticking over thinking, she went, okay, Hayley, and then just never spoke to me about it again. Because I was like, you can't say that. Like, those are good qualities to have as an adult, but the way you've just said it.
School, just a fucking nightmare, aren't they?
I
Like,
can't.
you've got to get my back up, honestly. Especially with this, can't take your kids on holiday, like, for a week or so. It's like...
Well, no, I got told, so I was speaking to the receptionist at the school the other week, and I said, we've got like another 3 holidays booked this year. She went, you're all right till January. And then I was talking to the head teacher about it. I was like, so what happens in January if I decide I just want to go on holiday? Like, because that's what I do. I'll see a deal and I'll be like, right, we're going there. And he's like, well, we're looking at fining parents. And I'm like, but I'd rather pay the fine.
Yeah, it's to save the money.
And like, but you can go in jail for 3 months. I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go in jail for 3 months. Like, but I'll pay the fine.
Yeah. Because
I think that cultural experience as well, because we go all over. These are all different countries that she's been to as well. And I want to continue that. And I will, obviously there is school holidays and we can go in the school holidays, but you never know when there's like a half price deal to Disneyland, do you? It might not be in the school holidays and I might want to go.
Yeah. It sounds like you're living the life that your clients want, you know, stressed out with admin and all these tasks and whatnot. You know, you're the perfect sort of salesman for this business.
I just segment everything out, like I say, with the workflows and my role, and just get it, because most people are visual learners.
Oh, I am 100%. I have to make notes all the time. Like, yeah, even when I'm speaking to someone, I've got to make notes just to. I know, it's funny how your brain works, isn't it?
I love a map, like a flow chart, like what happens after that and then what happens after that, and then really get people granularly thinking about their business and then go, right, so if we got AI to do this bit, how much time would that save you? And then they're like, oh God, like 2 hours a week. And then it soon racks up, but it's getting people out of that habit of thinking that they have to do everything. And a lot of the time business owners do think like that. I used to think like that. But you need to be really good at delegating, whether it's to an AI bot or a human being, and then you know, give that AI bot or that member of staff a procedure to follow by the book, how you want it following, because it's your business, and then just make amendments as you're going along. I mean, I've got 264 standard operating procedures now, so if I take anyone new on, there's like a library, and then they go in and they know step by step how to do it. If they ask me 3 times again how to do that job, that it's not for them, because it's literally laid out in black and white for them with a video and everything.
Yeah.
So
do you use Loom?
I love Loom.
Yeah, it's good Loom, isn't it?
I love Loom. I use Fathom as well.
Yeah, Fathom's quality for like Zoom meetings and whatnot.
Yeah, imagine how much time, like, you'd used to pay a PA to sit there, and I used to do it when I was 16 for this company when I was doing my apprenticeship, sit there taking minutes and then typing them up and then putting them into a report. It's done in seconds. It's done without you having to do anything, isn't it?
Gives your action points and everything, doesn't it, for your next meeting? But even
great.
Loom now, like when I first started using Loom, now it's got this feature where it basically bullet points what you were talking about in the video. I didn't used to do that, which is like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
really good.
Have you got Loom Pro?
I think I was on a trial, but I didn't carry it on.
I've carried it on. I was like, no, don't stop my trial. I need it.
When I had staff, I was obviously you need it, but obviously I'm just by myself at the moment, which is nice.
Is it nice? Have you got loads of AI assistants?
No, I just do my own thing now. It's nice, honestly. Yeah.
Do you not want to recruit? It's really
not
hard
at the moment.
In the Northeast.
I think finding the right business opportunity where, you know, I just don't. Well, property sourcing is not set up for scale, you know.
Unless you're wholesaling.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It's not the right opportunity for me to scale up.
What are you looking to do? What do you want? What does your heart say? You want to do AI, don't you?
I don't think I'm clever enough to do AI.
You definitely are.
Yeah.
I know you are. You are 100%. What do you want to do, though?
I don't know. I enjoy business, like in terms of helping business owners scale, which that's what I want to do. So, because like you said, because they're really good operators, they don't necessarily understand like financial reporting, standard operating procedures, you know, cash flow forecasts, profit and loss, you know, the importance of producing something like that, or even just having a marketing strategy with social media and, you know, calculating your return on ad spend and tracking it to see if, you know, customer acquisition is profitable. I'll give you an example. So I spoke to a lady who was doing like £750,000 in turnover. She was manufacturing blinds, and she was like, I don't like running a business, but I love being on a sewing machine. And she got up to £750,000 in revenue, and she was sewing. But she didn't have job descriptions for her staff members. She wasn't producing any financial, like monthly management accounts or anything
Winging
like that. Winging it.
Oh, go on. That's a good wing, though, isn't it, for 750k?
Well. Yeah.
So you're helping her out?
It didn't come off, but I know there's a lot of people out there like that.
Loads.
So I would like to be that person who helps them with all that stuff. So that's where I go and see myself going.
How would you identify those people?
They're usually trying to sell the business because they've plateaued to a point where they're like, don't really know where to go next. I haven't got the skills or the experience or the want to be like stricter with my staff and put KPIs in place and targets and stuff like that. So usually business for sale, so business acquisition stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Oh, I'm excited to see you do that.
Yeah.
I asked you on Facebook the other day, like, what
Yeah,
sort of
exactly.
things you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, because...
But I think my approach at the moment is just to speak to as many business owners as possible, get the right deal for me and that business owner, and then use that as like a springboard and look at other acquisitions where we can bolt on. And
so you want to go in and sort of take over 50% of the business or buy them out?
more so, well, it depends really. If they've got an existing management team in place, then there could be a deal done. But obviously, you don't want to buy a job. So
No.
if they're the key person in that business, then I'd look to partner with them. I'd bring the business skills in terms of, like we said, financial reporting, marketing, systems, and they'd bring the day-to-day operations, and then we'd look to exit for a bigger multiple for what they're looking for at this moment in time. Because although this lady was doing £750,000 in revenue, let's say she was making 10% net profit. So that's a 75k a year, but like that's her salary.
Yeah.
So there's no real value in the business, because once she goes, you know, you're going to have to employ someone, and
You are her.
You are her. You know,
Yeah.
and like how much, you know, realistically, how much are you going to pay for a job? You know, not much.
Yeah, no, the job's supposed to pay you, not you to pay.
So I think it's just about thinking a bit different, isn't it? Thinking a bit bigger, which is exciting. Where do you want to be over the next 3 years?
So just, I want to be a bit of a nomad. I'd love to just take my laptop and just go
And your
around the
daughter,
world with my
hopefully,
daughter, with my daughter as well. But that's more of a long-term plan, really, because her dad would never let me do that. So I've got to wait a little bit. So I've got, how old? She'll be 15. I've got like 12 years left of just seeing where our AI takes us, because, oh my God, who knows where it's going to be in the next 3 years. I might not even need a sales team if it's going this way, and they're like, it's ringing people for me and all that. But with what I do, a lot of it is just automated, so it's just kicking back and looking on the holiday sites, really. Like, I'm just I love exploring. I love seeing new things and and seeing the world, because I just think I haven't got enough time in my life to see everything, and I'm too nosy. Like, I want to see the pyramids, the Grand Canyon, all of the big wonders of the world. I want to go up Bermuda Triangle, even though no one's ever come out of it. I want to do all these crazy things, but I've got to get to a level where I want like 50 staff in 3 years, and I know that I can do it.
Why staff? Why staff? Why number of staff? Because
people
get chills thinking of like having a team of 50.
Because I won't be managing them. There'll be other people managing them.
Yeah.
But what I've come to understand is that no matter what you're doing and no matter how much AI you want to use, people want my time.
Yeah.
And they're in my WhatsApp at 11:30 on a Saturday night. Those clients get sacked, by the way.
Yeah.
But they need that human to go, everything's going to be okay. And they need that, like, they need a hug, like a virtual hug, if it might be.
Have you ever thought about, like, basically doing what I've just said there, like taking equity in a company? Because if you can...
I've just done it.
Yeah?
I've just gone after with somebody on the podcast studio.
Nice.
So, like, they said, if you do all the marketing, if you do the website, and I launched it, like, last week, and it already's got bookings coming on it, so I'm just getting half of the profit of that.
Class.
Like, literally took me a couple of weeks to set it up, and then that's it now, forever passive income.
You'll have to have me on your podcast.
I'll get you on it. So I don't run them, I just run the marketing.
Yeah.
and then I've got affiliate links all over that website as well. So if they need something really specialist, it goes, and they click on a link, it goes to one of our affiliates, and they basically pay them, but we get 20% of whatever they pay them without doing anything. So not only is that site making money, it's got links on it that are making money on as well. So, like, over the past 6 months, I've developed a few relationships like that, where they're more like we're affiliated partnerships rather than staff. So I'm saying staff, but that 50 could include affiliates as well.
Yeah.
Because they kind of generate income, don't they? But staff also generate income and retention of clients. So if I have 1,000 clients and 50 staff looking after them, you know, like with the virtual hugs and like, everything's going to be okay sort of people, that's all right for me. But I'll have someone managing them, recruitment manager and COO and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, CEO, COO.
Yeah,
Exciting.
COOs. I'm a bit of a COO myself at the moment, but I want to, like I say, work on the business rather than in it. But sometimes people still need that training, and I enjoy training people, so I don't mind. But as long as it's not taking me too many hours out the week, because I got called out before. My own dad said it actually. He's like, you don't spend enough time with Imogen, and I was like, are you blind? Are you absolutely blind? I spend more time with her than anyone you know, because my sister, for example, she goes to uni and she does placements doing like mental health nursing. They leech all of her time, and that's the only thing that we can't get back. We cannot get our time back, but we can make money in loads of different ways. So I was like, it might look like I'm busy because when you're here, I'm like quickly taking calls and like leaving you with Imogen. But when you're not here, actually, she gets way more time off of her parent than most kids do. And that's probably why she's so cheeky, inquisitive.
You have a course on AI?
Yes, a 30-day. It's not actually 30 days, but if you just wanted to do one thing at a time.
Is it a challenge, or is it, how is it set up? Tell me about it.
So each day has got a different prompt structures to help you out with marketing in different areas. So it might be Facebook ads, it might be TikTok, Snapchat, how to get it to do your income and expenses, that sort of stuff.
Nice.
There's loads of different topics on there, so it's not that you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and consecutively do it. It's just that you can see, well, I need help in that area, so I'm going to go that and click on that, and then that'll help me with prompting for that particular area. It's all to do with lead generation, systemisation and automation.
Very nice, very good. If people want to check that out, where can they go?
So I have issues with my business domain at the moment. It's all-in-one-app.com, but they don't like the number 1 in there for some reason.
Right.
Like Facebook full on banned it. So it's now just HayleyBrown.co.uk.
Fair enough. Can people message you on Instagram, Facebook?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can message me if they want to have a chat, go through strategies, what they're struggling with in business, and how they, like, if they know they should be using AI but they're not, then I can sort of say, well, this is how you can do it, and this is how I would do it if I was you.
Basically, if you want to sit at home and look for holiday deals,
Yeah,
get in touch with Hayley.
Yeah.
Quality.
Let me know.
Thanks so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. Yeah. Appreciate it. It's my first podcast as well, so like it's gone a lot better than I thought it would.
Yeah, I told you it would.
Yeah.
I told you it would.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
nice. Thank you so much.